What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well, and before I start this video, I do highly advise you go and watch yesterday's video and this week's previous videos, just so you have an idea of my expectations for the week. And also check the link in the description where you can join my new mailing list and join the Discord as well. So to start, we're going to go to dollar. You can see I have cleared my screens, and that's because we do have high impact news running into Thursday and Friday. We have jobless claims on Thursday, and then we have the Michigan consumer sentiment on Friday, which tends to create a lot of movement. And then on the pound, we do have interest rate decisions tomorrow. So I am expecting a lot of volatility, but it also means that accuracy is going to decrease significantly with interest rates. So we do need to take this into consideration as we look on GBP USD, but obviously we'll start with dollar. And in terms of my bias, I am still bullish with an expectation to start with a continuation, to see a continuation of us filling this range. So I'm going to mark out what I have already brought our attention to. I brought our attention to this weekly bearish order block right here. So we'll get that marked out in black, as I do believe price may want to draw up to that. Oops. Weekly bearish OB. And we'll just put that to the right. And then we've also got the highs as well, which I do want to see price start to draw up to. So if you've been watching my videos, you'll know I've had my attention on these for a while now. But whether we reach up there is going to be another story, and obviously we'll have to see how much volatility we get off the news. So you can see we've been trading higher. We traded down to the 25% level off this wick, just about missing the 50% level, which is interesting. And if we drop down to the daily, you'll see how we traded up into this bearish order block just as anticipated. Now, we didn't actually reach the opening of it, which I wanted to see. We traded into this one. However, we didn't trade up into the level which I was, aiming for. So I do believe price is still going to seek to trade on higher. And I'm also going to continue to bring our attention to the inversion fair value gap that has formed. So you'll see right here, between this between this close and this high, there's an inversion fair value gap because we closed on the upside. And if you watch yesterday's video, you'll remember me bringing our attention to this, saying it should provide support for price. So I still believe this still remains relevant. We'll mark out the midpoint, and this is going to be the very lowest I want to see price trade tomorrow for me to remain bullish on the dollar. Another thing as well, we have this fair value gap, which we've now traded through, so we can draw this out as well. And similarly, I'd like to think that price can stay above here. But the fact that we have such high impact news, I wouldn't be surprised if we traded lower towards this first original inversion fair value gap and then traded outside of it. So I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm just going to write daily inversion fair value gap in here. Daily IFVG. And then as we drop down to the lower time frames, we'll be able to get a better look. So let's go to the 4 hour. And you'll see how we traded higher, just as we wanted to see. We didn't quite reach, again, this bearish order block, which is why I do believe price is still going to seek to try and get up to it. But you can see that we have got a swing low down here that price may want to draw to create the low of tomorrow. So moving into the new day, I'd like to think that we can see London create a low, running out these stops below this 4 hour candle right here, and potentially trade into this bullish order block. Ideally, this provides support. That will definitely help us with our bullish bias, but there is a chance, like I said, that price may want to get down into this daily inversion fair value gap first before we see us trade higher. So let's go to the 1 hour, and you'll see how we traded higher. We've been consolidated. Very typical for a Wednesday to have this kind of price action, a lot of back and forth. But like I said, it's likely we will see lower prices at first. You can see relative equal lows have formed below here. And then I'd like to think that this is going to be the lowest price trades before we see expansion for the rest of the week. You can also see there's a gap here as we gapped higher in the new day. Price will likely seek to try and fill that. So let's just get that marked out like so. And yeah, overall, I'm just looking pretty much to see lower prices on dollar until we get a reversal with the news releases at around 8:30. That will hopefully line up nicely with our PD arrays. So overall, what am I expecting? Lower prices. Again, daily inversion fair value gap. I'd like to see that 50% level get respected. You can see there's a hourly fair value gap there as well with an order block, which could provide support. And then from then on, I would like to think that price will climb back higher, running for Wednesday's highs and starting to work its way up to these highs as well. Remember, this level here is a daily bearish order block, so that's why I'm a little bit weary of that level, but if we're bullish, price should trade through it. So we're anticipating these levels to actually get traded through as opposed to just two. So I'm just going to keep that there just for reference. And then we obviously also have that Wednesday high now over there. So hope that all makes sense. Let's now move into GBP USD. Now, like I said, we do have interest rate announcements, so we can expect a lot of movement. If you watch my videos, you'll know that I've been wanting to see lower pound. We traded up to the 50% level after previous week's wick gorgeously, and you can see we're starting to work our way down. So obviously I want to see price continue to work its way lower. We failed to take out last week's low for sell stops. This is the low which I want to see get taken. The fact that we failed to take that out, it suggests to me that price is likely going to run for that tomorrow, which is nicely lined up with the interest rate announcement. So that's good to see. If we drop down to the daily, you'll see how we traded lower. And now the fact that we haven't taken out this low, we are actually in a breaker right now. And what I mean by that is that we have a high, we have a low, we have a higher high, and price is assumingly going to break lower if we're bearish, right? So the fact that we're inside a breaker, we can start treating the last down close candle, which is this, as a breaker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this into quarters, and then price should be using these levels to key off to then send it lower. So I'll show you what I mean by that right now. So the midpoint of this is going to be the very highest I expect price to trade, because we're expecting some level of rallying before we trade lower. And then the 25% level will be ideal for us to key off to then send price lower into that weekly low, which I wanted to see get traded to. So I hope this is all making sense and you're following along. And then obviously we have this daily fair value gap down here, which I also brought our attention to earlier on in the week. So let's just make this blue. We know that this is the 25% level of that, breaker that we're in. And then we've got this red level, which is the 50% level. So let's now go down to the 4 hour. And you can see how we came very close to that low, just about missed it, and we've come off of it, which is why I'm expecting some level of rallying again up to that 50% level, where we also have a fair value gap, a breaker, high, low, higher, high, and then you can see we've broken lower. So I'm looking at this range here to get traded to, and I'd like to think that this can provide all the resistance we need to look for shorting opportunities. So definitely keep an eye on the London session, where it will likely create the high. If it trades above it and like we trade through it, then and only then I'd probably be a little bit more weary and probably stay out. But so long as we're respecting this range right here, and we respect that 50% level, I'm happy to be expecting interest rates to send price lower for us to run again into these weekly lows and towards that nice daily fair value gap we have residing down here. So it should be quite interesting. Let's go to the hourly. Again, typical Wednesday consolidation. You can see we're just trading higher. We have a nice swing high above here that will likely get taken before we then see price turn around, run for these beautiful relative equal lows that are formed below this low, and again, that daily fair value gap. So hopefully it does play out as nicely as I'd like it. You can see we're in heavy consolidation right now as we're entering that Asia range, which again is typical. And then I'd like to think that London will create that high, a beautiful swing for us to look for shorting to send lower. So as that high is getting created, I'll be watching dollar closely to be creating that low below this low for us to then expect a reversal. So I hope that all makes sense. Let's now finish up on Euro USD. We'll start here on the weekly as well. And you'll see that Euro hasn't moved as much as pound. It's moving a little bit more bullishly, and you can see that through Euro GBP, but I'll leave you guys to look into that. You can see again, respected the 50% level of this wick, just as anticipated. So now we're obviously expecting to see a continuation to the downside. We have an implied fair value gap right here. We can draw that out, but let's go down to the daily, and you will see that there's a lot of consolidation here. So price may struggle to get through this, but generally speaking, we do want to continue to see lower prices. We had this fair value gap. We traded lower in it. We didn't quite close it, so I'm expecting this to get closed. Ideally, we close below it, and then we can see more downwards price action moving into this range. I'll just show you that now. So moving into this fair value gap, which is implied in the Friday. So I'm obviously expecting lower prices on Euro as well. Let's just get rid of this real quick. Let's now go to the 4 hour and we'll see how we've traded. So we came lower. Again, very small range. We may very well see price trade higher, rallying into this fair value gap first, which is fine, and then lower prices for the rest of the week, running towards this bullish order block in that implied fair value gap. So overall, I'm expecting low prices. Obviously, we do have a breaker here as well. We've got a high, a low, a higher high, and then we've had displacement, right? So I'm looking at this last down close candle to act as a breaker and for us to trade back into. So overall, I'm looking at this 4-hour range. So long as price is in there, I want to see this range act as like a resistance to price. So as we trade in there, we should see rejection to send price into this Wednesday low created today. And then, like I said, that implied fair value gap is that red box, and we have a bullish order block in there as well, which is nice to see. So let's just get these marked out. Let's drop down to the hourly just to finish up. Again, relative equal highs now, this high and this high. That creates relative equal highs. Price is going to want to sweep those before, again, breaker as well. Last down close candle before the up move that then displaced price lower. Price is going to want to trade into that, accumulate those, and trade lower, assuming dollar wants to trade higher. So that's my expectations moving into tomorrow. But remember, interest rates, there's only so much analysis we can do and so accurate we can be. But it should be quite interesting to say the least. So that's going to be everything, guys. I hope you found this insightful. Again, check out the description. There's loads of stuff down there for you to check out. Hit the like button, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one. Peace.